There's a lie that most people accept without question, that whoever talks the most, appears the most, and attracts the most attention ends up gaining the most power. It seems logical, doesn't it? But a closer look at history's greatest strategists reveals that reality works exactly the opposite way. Machiavelli understood that truly dangerous people almost never announce their intentions. They listen more than they speak, observe more than they react, and act only when all the pieces are already in place. While most waste energy trying to prove their worth, they build influence in silence. And that's precisely why they almost always win. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, shows that the world doesn't reward those who make the most noise, but those who deeply understand human nature. The problem is that we've been taught from a young age to believe that we need to answer everything, give our opinion on everything, and show every step of our lives. But in practice, all the information you reveal also gives an advantage to those who want to compete with you. Those who master this principle understand that silence is not a sign of weakness, but a strategic tool. After all, no one can predict the moves of someone who never fully reveals what they are thinking. Perhaps you've experienced a similar situation. While you were explaining your plans to everyone, someone more discreet appeared months later with the finished project. While you were seeking approval, another person worked quietly and surprised everyone with results that seemed to appear out of nowhere. The truth is, they didn't appear out of nowhere. There was an invisible process happening long before any recognition appeared. It is precisely at this point that Machiavelli separates the impulsive from the strategists. Better to be feared than loved never meant spreading fear, but building such a solid presence that your actions speak much louder than your words. And this only happens when someone learns to control their own exposure. Throughout this video, you will discover why some people always seem to be several steps ahead, how they use the calculated use of force without wasting energy on pointless conflicts, why virtù and fortuna favor those who know how to wait for the right moment, how to make decisions based on true human nature, protect what makes you valuable, develop your own loyal armies, that is, resources and alliances that don't depend on the goodwill of others, and why constant adaptability is one of the most powerful weapons for those who wish to build a life where influence doesn't depend on luck. In the end, you will probably never see a silent person the same way again. And perhaps you will discover that true power has never been in speaking more, but in making sure that every word, every movement, and every silence has a purpose. If something inside you awakened while listening, don't ignore that feeling. This channel isn't about videos, it's about memories. Remember who you were before the fear, before the exhaustion, before the silence. Each new video here is a different reflection of your own soul, an invitation to understand what the world never taught you. The power you seek outside has always been within you. If you feel that this journey speaks to what lives silently within you, sign up now. Not to follow yet another creator, but to reconnect with something the world tried to make you forget. Because here, every word was made to heal, each reflection to awaken, and each video serves as a reminder. You are not alone on the path back to yourself. Click on subscribe and turn the algorithm into a daily reminder of who you really are. There's an idea that almost everyone learns early on, but which rarely works when confronted with reality. The belief that the world always rewards those who play fair. Machiavelli observed just the opposite. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, teaches that the true strategist doesn't waste energy waiting for the scenario to be fair. He understands the invisible rules of the game and learns to operate within them. While many spend years complaining about favoritism, unequal opportunities, or privileges, those who understand human nature focus their efforts on creating conditions that put them a few steps ahead. The end justifies the means doesn't mean acting unethically, but recognizing that results depend on strategy, preparation, and correctly reading the environment. Better to be feared than loved was never an invitation to abuse, but a reminder that respect is born from perceived strength, while sympathy alone disappears at the first conflict. Therefore, avoiding being hated becomes as important as gaining admiration, because the appearance of virtue often opens doors that brute force could never open. Virtue and fortune go hand in hand when someone prepares to seize opportunities that others cannot even see. Imagine two equally talented professionals. One expects spontaneous recognition, the other develops relationships, masters rare skills, understands negotiation, learns communication, studies books like The 48 Laws of Power, Think and Grow Rich, and The Art of War, naturally becoming indispensable. Both work hard, but only one has understood that decisions based on real human nature produce different results than decisions based solely on hope. This is the calculated use of force, moving precisely without wasting energy, preserving resources for decisive moments. Just as Machiavelli valued his own loyal armies above external promises, the modern strategist builds his own resources, his own knowledge, and his own influence, developing constant adaptability to never depend completely on the goodwill of others. And just when this perception begins to make sense, an even more important question arises. If justice does not determine the winner, then who really chooses where the battle will be won? Few people realize that most defeats happen long before the first confrontation. Machiavelli understood that the intelligent strategist never enters a dispute simply because he was provoked. He first decides where, when, and under what conditions it is worthwhile to act. This is the essence of politics, guided by reality, not by ideals, understanding that winning depends less on courage and much more on choosing the right terrain. How many excellent people fail because they try to compete in saturated markets, engage in pointless arguments on social media, or vie for recognition in environments where merit is almost never perceived. The true strategist observes everything in silence, analyzes patterns, and only then makes his move. Better to be feared than loved, in this context, means becoming someone whose presence completely alters the dynamics of the environment. Not because they speak louder, but because they choose situations in which their qualities produce the maximum effect. Avoiding being hated is also part of this calculation, since unnecessary confrontations only waste energy that could be invested in growth. An entrepreneur, for example, might insist on selling a common product in an extremely competitive market, or identify a specific niche, such as software for dental clinics or consulting for content creators, where their expertise is much more valuable. The difference lies not only in competence, but in the intelligent choice of the environment. Virtù and fortuna meet precisely at this point. While many call it luck, the strategist knows that a good part of the opportunities arise from preparing to be in the right place. The calculated use of force prevents impulsive movements and transforms each decision into a cumulative advantage. Just as Machiavelli advocated for loyal armies to avoid dependence on external forces, those who wish to build influence need to create a solid foundation of knowledge, reputation, and autonomy before entering into major disputes. The appearance of virtue remains a powerful tool, as conveying balance, competence, and security often opens more doors than demonstrating desperation to win. All these decisions based on real human nature require constant adaptability, because the ideal field today may cease to exist tomorrow. And when someone learns not only to choose where to compete, but also to develop something that almost no one else can replicate, the game ceases to depend on the environment and begins to depend exclusively on the value that this person is able to create. Most people believe their greatest advantage lies in talent, But Machiavelli would see this idea as a trap. Talent impresses for a few moments. What truly generates power is building something that takes years to reproduce. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, teaches that anything that can be copied in a few days will inevitably lose value. A course can be pirated, a product can be imitated, an idea can be replicated, but a reputation built over years, a solid network of contacts, a respected brand, and a unique combination of skills are assets that no competitor can quickly duplicate. This is precisely why the end justifies the means, when interpreted strategically, represents investing time in creating natural barriers instead of seeking immediate victories. Better to be feared than loved also means becoming a competitor whose existence makes others think twice before vying for the same space, not because of aggressiveness, but because of the difficulty of achieving it. Avoiding being hated remains essential because a good reputation expands opportunities while reducing unnecessary resistance. Think of companies like Apple or Ferrari. It's not just the product that's worth billions, but the trust, the perception of exclusivity, the history built, and the experience it carries. Similarly, a professional who masters negotiation, communication, leadership, emotional intelligence, and deep technical knowledge creates a combination that's almost impossible to replicate quickly. Books like The Intelligent Investor, Principles by Ray Dalio, and Influence by Robert Cialdini help develop skills that multiply when they work together. Virtù and Fortuna appear when years of preparation meet an opportunity that few manage to seize. The calculated use of force causes each new skill to strengthen the previous one, creating a compound effect similar to the interest on an investment. Just as Machiavelli advocated for his own loyal armies, the modern strategist builds an invisible patrimony formed by knowledge, credibility, discipline, and trusting relationships. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability, because what is rare today may become common tomorrow. And when this structure starts to become virtually impossible to copy, an even more important question arises: how to protect this invisible asset before it attracts everyone's attention? While most people believe that power is born in the moment of action, Machiavelli would teach that it is built long before, when no one is watching. The strategist understands that true advantage does not appear in the instant of battle, but in the hundreds of invisible hours of preparation that precede any great conquest. This is the essence of politics, guided by reality, not by ideals. Accepting that the world rewards those who arrive prepared, even if no one has seen the process. The end justifies the means. In this context, means investing patiently in knowledge, discipline, and experience even before a concrete opportunity exists. Those who wait for the ideal moment to begin are already late. It is better to be feared than loved, not because one inspires fear, but because one conveys such evident competence that few feel comfortable confronting one. At the same time, avoiding being hated remains indispensable, as silent strength usually generates respect without arousing unnecessary resistance. Observe a great chess master. When he makes a seemingly simple move, the public only sees the piece advancing on the board. What no one realizes is that that move was prepared several moves before. The same happens with investors who study economic cycles for years, entrepreneurs who validate dozens of ideas before launching a company, or professionals who quietly develop skills until a single opportunity completely transforms their careers. Virtù and Fortuna meet precisely when luck knocks on the door of someone who is already prepared to open it. The calculated use of force prevents wasted energy on premature disputes, allowing each effort to be directed towards strengthening one's own position. Just as Machiavelli valued his own loyal armies instead of relying on mercenaries, the modern strategist builds his own foundation of knowledge, solid habits, financial resources, reliable relationships, and emotional mastery. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability because each phase of life demands different preparation. Those who wish to advance in their careers can study negotiation, communication, and finance before a promotion comes. Those who intend to become entrepreneurs can build an audience, understand marketing, and learn sales long before launching any product. When the big moment finally arrives, to the eyes of the crowd, it seems as if everything happened overnight. But the strategist knows that victory began much earlier, in a quiet period that almost no one valued. And it is precisely at this point that a new question arises. If preparation generates power, how to choose moves that deliver results far greater than the effort invested? Most people measure the value of a decision by the effort it requires, but Machiavelli would see another, far more powerful criterion: how much that decision is capable of delivering over time. The strategist doesn't work to appear busy. He works to create movements whose return is disproportionate to the investment made. This is the essence of politics guided by reality, not by ideals. Abandoning the illusion that working more hours necessarily means achieving more results. The end justifies the means, when understood from a strategic perspective, reveals that a single intelligent choice can outweigh years of misdirected effort. Think of someone who dedicates 6 months to learning English, programming, artificial intelligence, or high-level negotiation. The initial cost seems high, but these skills can multiply salaries, open international doors, and generate opportunities for decades. The same happens to those who dedicate time to building a strong personal brand or a loyal audience. A single video can reach millions of people. A single contact can originate a multi-million-dollar partnership, and a single book can completely change the way someone views money, power, and influence. In this scenario, being feared rather than loved means becoming someone whose decisions have a much greater impact than they appear, forcing competitors to scramble to catch up. Avoiding hatred remains essential, because healthy relationships amplify these advantages instead of blocking them. Virtù and fortuna go hand in hand when preparation meets opportunity, but only those who have trained their eye can recognize high-return opportunities hidden in seemingly ordinary situations. The calculated use of force consists precisely in applying energy only where it generates a multiplier effect, rejecting distractions that consume time without producing real growth. Just as Machiavelli advocated for loyal armies to preserve autonomy, the modern strategist builds their own sources of income, knowledge, influence, and credibility, reducing their dependence on external circumstances. All these decisions based on real human nature require constant adaptability, because an asymmetrical advantage today can lose strength tomorrow if it ceases to evolve. Those who learn to identify these opportunities stop trading hours for small results and begin to build a system where each move strengthens the next. And when these advantages begin to accumulate, an even more ambitious goal emerges: to stop relying solely on isolated skills and build a position that continues to generate power even when you are not actively involved. There's a silent difference between those who constantly chase opportunities and those who make opportunities chase them. Machiavelli understood that skills are important, but strategic positions completely change the rules of the game. Politics, guided by reality, not ideals, teaches that knowing how to do something is valuable, but occupying a position where few people can reach is worth much more. An excellent programmer may depend on clients to survive, while the owner of a technology company, even without writing a line of code, has built a position capable of multiplying the value of the knowledge of dozens of specialists. The end justifies the means. In this context means investing not only in learning, but in creating structures that continue to produce results regardless of daily effort. Better to be feared than loved means becoming such a solid reference in a given market that your absence is felt immediately, not out of arrogance, but because your position has come to influence important decisions. At the same time, avoiding being hated remains essential, as lasting alliances strengthen positions much more than constant confrontations. Think of Warren Buffett. Their greatest advantage lies not only in analyzing companies, but in the position they have built over decades. Privileged access to public information, an unquestionable reputation, market confidence, and the ability to negotiate conditions that few people could obtain. The same is true for a respected doctor, a lawyer recognized in a specific area, or an entrepreneur who dominates a highly specialized niche. Virtù and fortuna appear when years of building transform competence into authority. The calculated use of force ensures that each new achievement strengthens the previous one, creating a cycle in which reputation generates opportunities, opportunities generate results, and results further strengthen reputation. Just as Machiavelli advocated for loyal armies to protect a government, the modern strategist builds their own assets, a trustworthy brand, a solid network of relationships, a loyal audience, a company, or intellectual property that continues to produce value even in their absence. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability because positions also need to evolve to remain relevant. Those who understand this stop selling only their ability to perform tasks and begin to occupy a space that influences markets, people, and decisions. But every valuable position attracts attention, and that's precisely why the next challenge is no longer just about growing. It becomes about protecting what makes it truly irreplaceable. Gaining an advantage is difficult, but maintaining it requires even greater intelligence. Machiavelli understood that many rulers didn't lose their kingdoms due to a lack of courage, but rather because they failed to protect what had put them in power. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, teaches that everything that generates value also sparks interest, competition, and often attempts at imitation. Therefore, the strategist never fully exposes their methods, nor easily surrenders what took years to build. The end justifies the means. In this scenario, means acting preventively before the risk appears, instead of waiting for the problem to happen and then reacting. Better to be feared than loved can also mean establishing clear boundaries, demonstrating that your position was built with discipline and will not be easily weakened. At the same time, avoiding being hated remains a smart rule, because protecting your assets doesn't require creating unnecessary enemies. Imagine a renowned chef who keeps their main recipe only for an extremely restricted circle, or a technology company that protects its algorithms, internal processes, and organizational culture. The greatest asset is rarely the final product. It lies in the accumulated knowledge that allowed one to achieve that result. The same applies to any professional. Their problem-solving skills, negotiation skills, leadership abilities, or communication skills can become extremely valuable differentiators when consistently developed. Virtù and fortuna favor those who understand that not all information needs to be shared, and that discretion can be a competitive advantage. The calculated use of force also appears in the careful choice of partnerships, avoiding granting unrestricted access to people whose loyalty has not yet been proven. Just as Machiavelli advocated for loyal armies over dependence on opportunistic allies, the modern strategist protects their intellectual property, their most important relationships, their reputation, and their most efficient processes. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability, because what differentiates you today can be copied tomorrow if you remain stagnant. Those who understand this logic continue to evolve, while competitors try to catch up to an outdated version of their work. And when what makes it unique is truly protected, a much more powerful possibility emerges, transforming those advantages into assets capable of continuously generating value even without its constant presence. Few realize that there is a huge difference between possessing an advantage and transforming it into an asset. Machiavelli would understand this difference immediately, because true power lies not only in winning today, but in creating something that continues to produce results tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, and for many years. Politics, guided by reality, not by ideals, teaches that the strategist does not depend solely on their own presence to generate value. They build mechanisms that work for them. The end justifies the means from this perspective, meaning investing time and resources in creating permanent structures instead of seeking quick gains that disappear at the first difficulty. Think of a professor who deeply masters a particular subject. If they only teach live classes, their income depends exclusively on the hours they work. But by transforming this knowledge into books, recorded courses, a community, a newsletter, or their own platform, their skill ceases to be just a competence and becomes an asset capable of generating continuous results. The same happens to those who build a strong brand, register a patent, develop software, create an investment portfolio, establish a well-organized company, or form a highly skilled team. Better to be feared than loved. In this context represents possessing such a solid structure that competitors understand they are not facing just one person, but an entire system working in their favor. Even so, avoiding being hated remains a smart strategy, because assets grow faster when supported by trust and good relationships. Virtù and fortuna appear when years of preparation find a model capable of multiplying its own results without requiring proportional effort. The calculated use of force consists precisely in investing energy in building systems that reduce dependencies and amplify returns. Just as Machiavelli advocated for his own loyal armies to preserve stability and independence, the modern strategist creates his own assets: companies, brands, copyrights, investments, documented processes, skilled teams, and diversified sources of income. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability, because even the best assets lose value if they fail to evolve with the market. Those who learn this logic stop selling only their time and begin to build intellectual, financial, and strategic assets that continue to grow even while they rest. But the more valuable these assets become, the more evident a new reality emerges. There comes a point when replacing them becomes too expensive for anyone to even attempt. The greatest demonstration of power doesn't happen when someone declares themselves indispensable, but when their absence begins to generate problems that no one can quickly solve. Machiavelli knew that strong rulers weren't those who centralized everything in themselves, but those who occupied such a strategic position that removing them meant destabilizing the entire surrounding structure. This is the essence of politics guided by reality, not ideals, becoming so valuable that people see more risks in losing you than costs in keeping you around. The end justifies the means. In this context, means continuously investing in differentiators that increase your market value instead of just performing common tasks. A professional who masters only one skill competes with thousands of people. One who combines technical knowledge, emotional intelligence, negotiation, leadership, business acumen, and the ability to solve complex problems creates an extremely rare combination. It is this combination that raises their price. Better to be feared than loved represents conveying the perception that replacing you will cost time, money, productivity, and opportunities, while avoiding being hated ensures that this recognition comes with genuine respect and not resistance. Consider companies like Nvidia in recent years. They didn't become giants simply because they manufacture quality products, but because they developed ecosystems, technologies, talent, and accumulated knowledge that cannot be replicated overnight. The same principle applies to anyone. Those who learn languages, master artificial intelligence, understand finance, communicate ideas clearly, and develop solid relationships build an advantage that goes far beyond their resume. Virtu and Fortuna favor those who accumulate complementary skills instead of relying on a single talent. The calculated use of force causes each new skill to increase the value of previous ones, creating a multiplier effect that few can match. Just as Machiavelli advocated for loyal armies to preserve stability, the modern strategist invests in reputation, credibility, consistent results, and a network of trustworthy people who strengthen their position over time. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability because the market changes, technologies evolve, and what is rare today may become common tomorrow. Those who understand this dynamic stop competing solely on price and start competing on value, becoming a difficult choice to replace in any environment. And when this position is finally achieved, an even more sophisticated challenge arises: learning to reveal only what strengthens their image, keeping invisible everything that truly makes their results possible. One of the greatest illusions of the information age is believing that showing everything generates more authority. Machiavelli would probably do the opposite. He would understand that the true strategist reveals only what strengthens their position and preserves what constitutes their competitive advantage. Politics, guided by reality, not by ideals, teaches that absolute transparency can be mistaken for naivete, especially in environments where every shared detail can be used by competitors. The end justifies the means. In this context means understanding that discretion is not a lack of honesty, but an intelligent way to protect years of preparation. The public usually only sees the end result: the company growing, the assets increasing, the promotion arriving, or the channel reaching millions of views. Almost no one witnesses the late-night study sessions, the accumulated mistakes, the investments that didn't work out, or the hundreds of silent attempts that preceded success. Better to be feared than loved also manifests itself when people perceive your ability to deliver consistent results, even without fully understanding how you do it. This type of respect generates a much more lasting influence than the constant need to prove competence. At the same time, avoiding being hated remains indispensable because flaunting superiority often creates resistance, while letting results speak for themselves sparks curiosity and admiration. Think of a great chess player who never reveals the full logic behind their preparation, or companies that keep internal processes protected while presenting only exceptional products to the market. The secret is rarely in what everyone sees. It lies in the invisible system that sustains each achievement. Virtu and Fortuna reward those who understand that not all knowledge needs to be exposed to be recognized. The calculated use of force appears precisely in the ability to direct people's attention to the value delivered, and not to the mechanisms that produce that value. Just as Machiavelli advocated for loyal armies to preserve stability, the modern strategist protects their methods, their processes, their most important relationships, and their sources of competitive advantage. These decisions based on real human nature require constant adaptability, because what remains hidden today may need to evolve tomorrow to continue being a differentiator. And when someone masters the art of concealing the process while displaying consistent results, they inevitably begin to hear a judgment that accompanies all those who achieve extraordinary positions. The crowd will say that their advantage is unfair. There's a curious moment in any strategist's journey. The more results they achieve, the less people see the path taken, and the more they believe everything happened through privilege, luck, or favoritism. Machiavelli deeply understood this behavior because he knew that most people only judge what they can see. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, teaches that the masses tend to call injustice anything they cannot reproduce. You criticize those who remain stagnant, but criticism almost always arises when someone begins to stand out. The end justifies the means, interpreted strategically, means accepting that seeking great results inevitably awakens discomfort in those who prefer to remain in their comfort zone. Better to be feared than loved also takes on another meaning, not seeking constant approval, but building such solid competence that even critics are forced to acknowledge your results. This, however, never eliminates the importance of avoiding being hated. The intelligent strategist does not fuel unnecessary conflicts, nor respond to every provocation. They understand that time and energy are limited resources. Imagine two entrepreneurs. The first spends hours trying to convince everyone that their success was deserved. The second continues to refine their company, investing in new projects and strengthening their position while criticism naturally dissipates. Which of the two will likely be more advanced in 5 years? Virtù and Fortuna favor those who remain focused on the long term because opinions change rapidly, but well-built assets continue to produce results for decades. The calculated use of force appears precisely in the ability to choose which battles deserve a response and which should be ignored altogether. Just as Machiavelli advocated for having one's own loyal armies to avoid depending on the approval of external forces, the modern strategist builds their confidence on concrete results, a consistent reputation, and solid principles, not on momentary applause. These decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability, as new levels of growth will always bring new types of criticism. Those who understand this dynamic stop wasting energy trying to appear righteous in everyone's eyes and start investing in what truly strengthens their position. And when you finally understand that approval will never be a reliable strategy, the most sophisticated step of all emerges, ceasing to accept existing rules and learning to build a game where your own advantages define the conditions for victory. The biggest mistake most people make is believing that the goal is to win within the existing rules. Machiavelli saw something much deeper. The true strategist seeks to create circumstances in which the rules themselves work in their favor even before the contest begins. This is the essence of politics guided by reality, not by ideals. Instead of asking, "How can I win this game?" he asks, "How can I build a game in which my advantages are naturally superior?" The end justifies the means, when interpreted through strategic logic, means dedicating years to creating a position where victory no longer depends solely on effort, but becomes a consequence of a carefully planned system. Think of large companies that have created their own ecosystems, investors who have developed unique analysis methods, or content creators who have built a loyal audience even before launching a product. They didn't arrive to compete for space. They arrived occupying a space they themselves helped create. Better to be feared than loved represents becoming such a consolidated reference that competitors are forced to adapt their strategies to your presence. Even so, avoiding being hated remains indispensable because sustainable influence is born from the combination of competence, intelligence, and respect. Virtù and Fortuna appear when years of silent preparation find an environment designed to enhance every decision made. The calculated use of force makes each move strengthen the entire system, transforming small victories into a virtually cumulative advantage. Just as Machiavelli advocated for his own loyal armies to preserve independence, the modern strategist builds his own assets, his own knowledge, his own sources of income, a trustworthy brand, an engaged community, and solid relationships, minimizing his dependence on external factors. All these decisions, based on real human nature, require constant adaptability, because even the best system needs to evolve to remain dominant. In the end, those who learn this logic stop chasing opportunities created by others and begin to design scenarios where their presence completely alters the outcome of the game. This is precisely why true power rarely makes noise. It manifests itself in the ability to influence the game even before others realize that the contest has begun. And when someone reaches that level of strategic vision, they discover that silence has never been an absence of strength, but rather its most sophisticated form of expression. If there's one lesson Machiavelli left for those who truly wish to build power, it's that the greatest force is almost never the loudest. Throughout this video, you've realized that politics guided by reality, not ideals, demands a profound change in mindset. It's not enough to work harder, talk more, or try to convince the world that you deserve to win. It's necessary to develop virtù and fortuna through preparation, self-control, and the ability to act at the right moment. The calculated use of force doesn't transform a person into someone cold. It transforms an ordinary person into someone difficult to manipulate. Better to be feared than loved doesn't mean seeking fear, but earning respect born from competence, discipline, and the predictability of your results. At the same time, avoiding being hated remains an indispensable rule for those who wish to grow without creating unnecessary obstacles. Those who learn to make decisions based on real human nature stop reacting to events and begin building scenarios where opportunities work in their favor. Those who develop their own loyal armies, knowledge, assets, reputation, relationships, and autonomy cease to depend on circumstances to continue advancing. And those who practice constant adaptability understand that power does not belong to the strongest, but to those who evolve before the world forces them to change. Now let's reflect honestly. At what point in your life have you been talking too much and observing too little? What plans have you revealed prematurely? What opportunities have you missed because you sought approval instead of preparation? And, looking at everything you've learned today, which of these strategies do you intend to put into practice this week? Write your answer in the comments. I want to know which lesson has most changed your perspective on power and strategy. If this video made you realize that true power often acts in silence, subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications. Every week you'll find in-depth content about Machiavelli, strategy, human nature, influence, discipline, and power building, always transformed into practical lessons for real life. While many will continue reacting to the world, you will be learning to understand it before others. And that can be the difference between living by someone else's rules or starting to build your own.